Hey, it's the latest episode of The Ugly Truth. Paula's back, and we welcome her, and we're talking about what we're watching on television, as well as how big of a hoe her kitty cat is. That and some ugly and awkward moments of the week. Thank you so much for listening. Enjoy the show.
It's another uncensored look at the world around you, from sisters who will say just about anything to anyone at any time. It's the Uggs. Jamie?
That's not a journey I think you should be on.
Paula?
You're so manly.
Uncensored as always, it's time for the Ugly Truth.
Welcome to The Ugly Truth. This is episode 471. Yay! She's returned.
I am back.
We thank Producer Dub for sitting in for you. It was a very, very last minute cancellation, which I completely supported because you had an animal go missing. And you're going to tell us the story. You're funny. You're like, oh, I'm running a little late. And you're like, oh my God. And I said, okay.
I swear. Well, it's just like I have this, it's not even a checklist, but it's just like, I seriously have like 15 things I have to do before I hunker, because, I can never be by myself for very long. And so
God forbid.
I have to make sure all the worlds are aligned and, good before I go into the room with the partially opened door for an hour and a half, and everything was not aligned last podcast. So
yeah, I was worried about you for a minute. But anyway, welcome back. So Producer Deb did sit in, and we had a nice little chat about everything. So we're not going to continue
any fighting.
Actually, he did tell me to fuck off at the end. Because I made light of him waking up at 4 a.m. when he used to commute to the city every day. Mm-hmm. And he said, well, what about when the times when I woke up at 4 a.m. every day to, go to work. I'm like, well, we all appreciate how hard you sacrificed to do that. And he's all, hey, fuck you.
You know what? That got you guys places. You know that.
Oh, first of all, I'll tell you why I did it, Paula, because he can't evoke any kind of emotion at all. He's so very straightforward. And, I was trying anything to elicit anything outside of.
I'd be like, dude, pluck the tampon out of your butt.
Well, he's not straight-laced. It's just that, he's so very focused on quality of the show and how he sounds. And, like you and I give you literally I think there's 10 words on our outline and we know what we're going to do.
Right.
But for him, I did the same. I reworked the whole outline because I had a completely different one for us. So I reworked the outline for him. And he's just like, I think that we should talk about parenting. And I said, I don't want to talk about parenting. He's like, well, what?
What about parenting?
What more can I talk about? I said, no. I said, I got it. He's like, okay. And so we sat down and, it was a really great little show. I really enjoyed it. We spent a few minutes talking about the current situation in the country because we're not oblivious to what's going on and we have our opinions, of course. And so we
what current situation? No, I'm just kidding.
I know. What? What's going on? I was in Bermuda. What?
Yeah, right.
So we talked about that and, and move forward. So obviously with that in mind, we're not going to continue discussing it today. Just so y'all know, it's been discussed and we obviously wish for the best for our country and hope for change as well. But anyway, so the show is great, but he wants me to go fishing, which we discussed in the show. And I said, I'm not going. Why?
That sounds so fun.
He wants me to go, Paula, for one reason only, so that he get hurt or should an animal approach.
Oh, like a buffer?
Just basically a lookout.
Just tell him you're on your period and you can't go.
Well, who knows? Maybe I will be.
You'll be, I'll track the bears. I'm putting the whole station at risk.
Bears, they're attracted to the menstruation. God. Oh, speaking of, I don't know if you watched it, but I watched the entire first season of Space Force with Steve Carell.
You know what? I haven't. I'm sure Ryan and Victor will because they're all about space stuff. I'm not into space stuff, so
it's not that at all. It's about the development of the new branch and what the first year or two would look like when it becomes becomes in fruition. Like there's a base and there's, they're testing rockets all the time and stuff like that. And Steve Carell is great. It's hit and miss, but I really enjoyed it. I ended up, the second half of it is really super good. And so I kept watching it. I love Steve Carell anyway.
Yeah, he's hilarious.
He really is. Everybody, I think people were disappointed because they thought he was going to be like a character he's been before, like 40-Year-Old Virgin or from The Office.
Like The Office or something.
Yeah, and it's not at all. And he plays a super conservative general. The other generals of the other divisions of the military, like the Air Force and the Navy and the Army and stuff like that, they don't have a ton of respect for him, and the Air Force really hates him, and because they're just like, you know, oh, you're the worst, and then somebody, and I can't remember who it is, what other division of the branch, and they're like, well, finally, I'm not at the shit end of the bottom of the military anymore. They're like, oh no, you still are. You know, it's actually pretty funny. So I encourage you to watch it. I think you'll actually find it funny if you can get through the first couple of episodes.
You're kidding me. Wow.
Oh no, and he's funny as hell. He's a super bleeding heart liberal in it. But yet he's also a scientist. So it's really fun. Really, really. There's a lot of great people in it.
Fuck Tony.
Oh my God, fuck Tony is so good. He's really great.
Cast. Okay, I don't know who this is.
It's an amazing cast.
Oh no, Fred Willard was on there?
He was, and he gets a tribute.
Oh, Jane Lynch, Chief of Naval Operations. All right.
Yes.
I love her.
In fact, one of her best scene is she goes, you acknowledge my gender again, I'm going to fuck you in the ass. Stuff like that.
Oh,
so,
Lisa Kudrow plays his wife?
Yes, and she's in prison and we don't know why. They never tell us. So anyway, watch it, Paula, and let me know what you think.
This sounds exciting. I like this cast.
Watch it this weekend and tell me what you think next week. I personally enjoyed it quite a bit. Daryl lost interest after like episode 3 or 4. And then I was watching it upstairs and he comes in and he goes, you're watching Space Force? And I'm like, well, yeah.
Oh, like you're supposed to save yourself. You're
That's
just
what
like,
I said. I go, what am I supposed to do? Wait. I go, do you know how many shows I have on pause because you just insist that we watch them together and then they never get watched? I'm like, no, I'm not doing that anymore. I want to know how this one ends. So I watched it without him. He's like, fine, I just went to the bathroom. I'm like, and you never returned. I'm not going to do that.
That is probably my biggest pet peeve that Ryan does. The kids will be watching a show and then like slowly they'll both vacate the room. I'll think one of them's gone to the bathroom or something. 15 minutes later, I'm still watching fucking SpongeBob. And I'm just like, where the fuck is everyone? I'll go in there.
Like,
Ryan's in his room playing a video game. I'm like, are you done in the living room? He's just like, oh yeah, sorry. And I'm like, God damn it. And then I'll go in the other room. Olivia's in the bathtub. And I'm just like, I guess you're not watching SpongeBob. And I'm like, thanks everybody for telling me. So I didn't have to be annoyed for the last 15 minutes watching fucking SpongeBob. Because I hate that show. I hate it more than anything. Anyways. Rant over.
I know. I agree. And then I'm also watching a show called The Great, which is about Catherine the Great. It's on Hulu, and I've only seen 2 or 3 episodes because the episodes are pretty long. They're like an hour long. I absolutely love Catherine the Great. Historically speaking, she's an amazing historical figure. And this is a take of her being young, her young years when she first was sent to Russia to be the young empress to this guy who was terrible. Anyway, it's really good. I don't know how you are about historical things, but there's a lot of funny, and it's a very interesting show, but I'm loving it. But I've also seen almost anything on Catherine the Great or Queen Elizabeth. I just love both of those figures so much in history. So
see, I don't really watch fictional stuff. I'm more of like a docuseries kind of person.
Oh,
like I haven't watched the Jeffrey Epstein thing just because I'm just like, why do I want to? He was so disgusting.
I watched it.
Was it gross?
Well, the thing is that I had listened to a podcast about him that was this was based on I don't know which came first, but the podcast was last year and I listened to it, and it's very difficult to stomach, especially if you've ever been victimized by a man or if you've been sexually molested or anything as a child. It can be, I mean, I hate the word, but it can definitely trigger you.
Right.
You get anxious or whatever, and I definitely did. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I thought I could handle it. I'm an adult. It's been forever, but I was like, Jesus. But that feeling that I got when I was
like being overpowered and stuff like that. Yeah.
I just remember when I was going through therapy and dealing with it. There's this weird feeling that it's not a feeling of victimization, but it definitely, you feel this weird way. And I always felt guilty. It's so strange.
Well, I know what you're saying. It's like that weird, guilty kind of like dirty feeling.
Yeah, it's so unusual because I don't feel that way anymore, but I felt those weird stomachy feelings coming back as I watched it.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Kind of like, what did I do?
Yes, and so ultimately what was funny is, so a lot of these girls were assaulted when they were 12, 13 years old, and a lot of people, they were just like, and then even in my mind, I'm like, how did anybody allow you to even go as far as it did? Like, how did that happen? But when people are grooming, they know who to find, they know who to pick, these young girls who don't have a lot of home safety and stuff like that, especially at 13 or 14 years old. It's real easy if they're hungry for it, if they're looking for any kind of love or affection. It's easy. Anyway, so when he ultimately died, I was like glad. I was so happy.
That's the whole thing is everyone's just like, did he commit suicide?
I don't care.
And that's what I said. I'm like, who gives a fuck? But everyone's just like, but he could have told so many things. I'm like, he wasn't going to tell dick.
No.
Or shit. I'm like,
no.
He was never going to tell anything. So whether he was murdered or suicide or whatever, I'm just like, he did a public service, or whoever did a public service. I'm like, I just hope he suffered whatever he did.
Oh, I think he did. But what I hate, but I don't know if he necessarily killed himself. I don't know if he paid someone to kill him, which is also very possible. When you watch the documentary, that is a real possibility that he's like, look, I love myself too much to kill myself, but I will definitely pay you to kill me. And I think that is definitely something that could have occurred.
Well, yeah, it's not like he went like Dahmer. That's for damn sure.
No, he did not.
In the fucking shower with a broomstick up his ass.
Well, he deserved that too.
But that's what I'm saying is, why did they do him like that? I'd be like, yeah, I'll kill you. And then toss him in the shower with a couple of large inmates and be like, no, this is not what I meant. Be like, oh, too fucking bad. Thanks for the money.
Yeah, no shit. But the reason that I think it was something like that is because he transferred all of his money offshore so that no victim could get even a dime.
What an asshole. Well, so what did he do with it then? It's just sitting there?
Yep, $500 million just sitting there. Nobody can touch it. He's a disgusting human being, and I'm glad he doesn't exist anymore on this planet. It's very good. The other documentary that I really enjoyed was Daryl and I finally, and this is the one I sat and watched with Daryl, was the Last Dance about Michael Jordan and the 6 world championships he won with the Bulls and all the behind the scenes stuff. It was so compelling. It was so freaking good. I really loved it.
We started with the first episode, but it just was so long that we couldn't get into it.
Yeah, they're long. Yeah, for sure. But I mean, watching one a week is fine. I mean, you can't binge watch that. And it probably isn't meant to be. I think we ended up watching it within 2 weeks. I think we got it done in 2 weeks. Michael Jordan, when he's so competitive, Paula, that when he would lose to a team, when he played them again, he wouldn't just beat them. He would annihilate them. And if a specific player like maybe pointed him out and said, hi, I got you on that one or whatever, he would make it his mission to humiliate him.
That'll be the last time.
Yes. And I loved it.
I said, like something we would do.
Oh my God. And I was just watching it and people were like, oh, there's, he could be a little bit nicer. I'm like, no, he doesn't. He can be as ice cold as he wants to be. That's how you win a game. Jesus, come on. He was loyal to his players. He would do anything for them. He trusted them with they trusted each other. That's why they were so good. And I'm like, so yeah, they're like, oh shit. And they always do it too. They're like, oh, so-and-so on Charlotte, blah, blah, blah. Michael has no mercy. None. No mercy. And I'm like, that's how you win championships. That's how that works. And he won't apologize for it. And that's why people think he's so mean. And I'm like, I respect that.
It's a basketball game, for fuck's sake.
Well, but it is like, what about the humanity? And I'm like, what about it? What about it? There's how you
crying
win.
in baseball.
There's no crying in anything unless you won the fucking trophy, okay? That's how that goes. All right. Well, anyway, speaking of alive, your cat Honey had a little adventure, a little night out, hustling around.
I know. She's...
What happened?
Such a little whore. Okay, so a little background on Honey. When I got Honey, she was not fixed. Actually, there was a lot of things wrong with Honey. Honey was like 6 weeks old when I got her. She had horrible fleas. She had horrible ear mites, and she was not fixed. So it took me a little while before I could get the money together to like get everything done. So I was able to address the fleas and the ear mites. Her ear mites were so bad. The doctor said that they had actually done permanent damage to her ears.
Oh, no.
Her meower is really bad. Like when she meows, it's really quiet and soft. And I think it's because she can't hear herself.
Aww.
And so when we call her, we kind of have to do it a little bit louder because we think she can't hear that well.
Right.
So anyway, she just meows funny because she can't, she doesn't sound right.
Aw.
And actually it's cute because when I used to put her drops in her ears, I had to rub in this certain spot to make sure they went all the way down. So now that she's older, gosh, she's almost 9 now, I think, or 8. I'll rub that spot in her ears and she'll just dig her head in. She'll be like, so,
memory.
yes, she does remember.
Aw.
Anyways, before I got her spayed, she used to sneak out, which I didn't know, the doggy door. And I should have known because there was usually like 2 or 3 cats in front of the house, like staggered on the sidewalk across the street in front of the house. Bunch of tomcats.
Little punky tomcats out there going, hey, what's up, honey?
I used to call them male callers, but really they were just like, little hornballs. And I'm like, what the fuck do you guys want?
They're like, we know she's in there. Send her out.
They're like, can honey come out and play? And then so... anyways, I didn't know like she was sneaking out. And so I took her to get spayed and I was at work and then I get a call from the vet and the vet's just like, your cat's pregnant. And I'm like, what? And they're just like, yeah, she's like 15 days pregnant.
Oh,
and I'm just
no.
I'm like, well, how long are cats usually pregnant for? And he's like 60 days. And I'm just like, he's like, she has 4 kittens. And I'm just like, I can't do that. And he's just like, well, what should we do? I'm like, just take care of it. And so I hung up and I feel guilty about it to this day.
I know. You hate even talking about it. I know.
I can't. I feel horrible, but I couldn't do it. I was single. I had 2 kids. I had this flea-bitten, ear-miting cat. And
no money, by the way.
And no money. And so I brought her home that night. Jamie, I shit you not. Her back legs weren't even working. She was dragging herself around the house. And she snuck out the back door of the doggy
Oh, my
door.
God.
I couldn't find her. She finally came home, back legs still dragging. She had sticks and leaves stuck to her butt. And I'm like, God damn it, honey. I'm like, what is wrong with you?
Oh my God.
I'm like, you can't even feel anything. But I guess it takes a while for the hormones to like exit the system.
Oh.
Even though you've had, the parts removed.
Right.
And so I had to lock everything up because I'm just like, I can't keep you from going out and whoring around, you little paraplegic. I'm just like
a little paralyzed cat trying to get some trim.
She still had like the effects of her epidural. And so
can you imagine?
No.
Oh my God.
We don't have a doggy door because of Honey.
Right. Well, I mean, lesson learned.
I mean, I really want to get one because now that Bo has diabetes, he literally has to go to the bathroom like almost every hour or every hour and a half.
You really need a doggy door.
I feel like I'm just constantly between Bo, his medications, the eating, the going to the bathroom, whatever the kids needs. I feel like I'm just sitting down, getting back up, sitting down, getting back up, and so I'm just like, I just want to sit down for a second.
No kidding.
So I left the door cracked the other night because I'm just like, fine. I'm like, whoever has to go out, just go out. Because it was a nice night. I like fresh air. And so I'm just like, whoever wants to go, just go.
Yeah.
Honey will try and sniff at the front door, or at the back door, but we usually yell at her and she'll just run away. Well, I guess I missed it because she got out.
Uh-oh.
And so when it was time to go to bed, I locked everything up, got everybody where they needed to be. And I don't usually look for her at night because usually she's just off somewhere laying on something.
Right.
You know how cats are.
Yeah.
So the next morning, you and I were getting ready to do our podcast, and I had to get the dogs their breakfast, give Bo a shot, get my stuff set up, make sure Olivia and Ryan were all situated. And then I was looking around and I'm just like, where's Honey? Because I didn't see her sleeping in her normal spots. And so I was just like, that's weird. So then I went in Victor's room because sometimes she'll sleep on his bed. And I'm just like, okay, she's not there. And I'm just like, okay, I'm like, this is weird. I'm like, where's Honey? And so then I kind of started looking frantically and I couldn't find her.
Ugh.
And I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, tell me she didn't sneak out last night when I had the door open.
escaped.
So I opened the back door and I started calling her and I couldn't find her. And so that's when I messaged you. I'm like, I can't find Honey. I'm like, I don't think I can do this right now. That was around like closer to 11. Well, Victor gets home by like 12:30 and Honey is really his cat.
Right.
Like Honey is so obsessed with him. She thinks that she's so gross. Like whenever he comes home from like work
Yes.
and he'll like take off his boots or like his jacket or whatever, she'll start like rubbing herself all over him because of like his body pheromones and stuff like
Gross.
that. Or like if he exercises, she'll come in and she'll like rub herself all over him. Like she's like, oh, you're so manly. And so
Disgusting.
she just thinks they're married. And so I'm like, okay, I'm like, if I don't have this cat by the time he gets home, I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to do. So I'm like, okay, first things first, we live off of a really busy street. So I'm like, I have to go down this busy street to make sure she's not dead on the busy street.
Yeah, you don't want him pulling up and saying, Honey.
I can't have Victor driving past and be like, what? That looks like
Our cat.
you know? And so I walked all the way up the busy street to the stop sign. I did not see her. Of course, I'm calling her and I didn't hear anything. And so I walk back and then I walk all the way up our street, calling her, nothing. I couldn't find her. And so I go home. Olivia's awake now. And she's just like, Mom, what are you doing? And I'm like, well, so I explained to her what happens. Of course, instantly, you know, her face starts shaking and tears start streaming down her face. And I'm just like, oh, God.
Right.
You know how Olivia is. She's just super
course.
emotional. So by that point, you know, Olivia has signed me up for like 15 different lost pet sites. So now my Gmail is just full of all these spam lost pet sites. And, you know, half of them are for like Florida and Vermont. And, you know, I'm like, Olivia, what is this? And
She's like, it's for lost animals.
and she's like, you said I could use your email address. I'm like, yeah, but for ones that are local, Olivia. I'm like, this last one was for, you know, West Virginia. So Victor came home and I said, I need to talk to you about something. He's like, okay. And the kids are just standing there staring at him. And he's like, what's going on?
What's happening?
And I'm like, here, just come sit on the couch.
Oh my
And
God.
he's
You guys
just
are
like-
so dramatic.
And I said, we've lost Honey. And he's like, what do you mean you've lost Honey? I'm like, I think she got out last night and I
Ran
locked her out
away.
and I can't find her now. He's like, oh, that's okay. He's like, she'll come back.
I told
And so
you.
I'm like,
That's what I
"Oh,
told
okay."
you.
So the whole rest of the day I was calling her. We couldn't find her. And so one of the things I read is they said, try looking for cats at night because they said it's quieter. You know, they feel a little bit safer.
Well, they're
coming
nocturnal
out.
creatures.
Right. So Olivia couldn't sleep. She woke up around 3. I had left the door cracked open all night because I kept thinking, well, if she comes back, maybe she'll just run inside.
Yeah.
So, and I was sleeping on the couch anyway. And so Olivia got up and she's like, can I call Dad? I'm like, yeah, that's fine. Because Victor's working nights right now.
Right.
And so she called him and she was just, you know, crying, saying she missed Honey. And, you know, Olivia had put out little food out for her on the patio.
Oh, so
And
she'll
then
attract everything but the cat.
That's what I told her. And then she flung, you know, food out onto the patio to, you know, like attract her, I guess.
Like, you're going to feed the rats. Come on.
And so, anyways, she went outside or like stood at the doorway and she was talking to Victor. And then all of a sudden she's like, wait, I think I see her tail. She's like, Mom, it's Honey.
Oh, my God.
I think what happened was, because she was talking to Victor on FaceTime, I think Honey heard
her.
Victor. And so
Yep.
she started running. And okay, she got inside, Jamie. She was filthy.
I bet.
Filthy. She smelled like urine. The back of her, bottom of her feet were black, like they had been running on the street or something. Her tail, Jamie, was sticky. It was covered in leaves.
Where was she?
I don't want to know, but nobody wanted to touch her because she was disgusting and smelly.
Did you give
and
her
of
a
course,
bath?
She wanted to cuddle with everyone. Well, it was 3:30 in the morning.
Oh, I meant the next day.
So the next day, we gave her a bath, and she looked like toothpicks with fur.
Oh, good. I'm glad you did it, though.
The whole fiasco is behind us. I had
God.
posted her stuff on like 2 Facebook sites, something called Nextdoor.
Wait, did you post it? I was dying to know. I know you like to roast people on that local forum that you post on.
Oh, on the Elk Grove one. Yeah, I know.
Did you post it?
On there.
Did they give you shit?
No, but you know what? I had like 15 replies. They're like, I hope she's so beautiful. I hope you find her. And I'm like, only reply if you know information. I don't give a fuck that you care. You hope I find her. I'm like, I don't care if you think she's beautiful. I know she's beautiful.
There's going to be some side comments like, I saw some slutty little cat over in a lot with a gray cat. I'm just saying, I don't know.
People posted like tips for finding a cat, and I'm just like, I don't want a tip. I just want my goddamn cat. So, there's always the do-gooders, and I'm just like, I don't want your tips. I don't want to hear how beautiful she is. I don't want, in your prayers or, I'll keep her in mind or I'll forward to friends, or I'm like, I just want to know if you know where my cat is.
I knew she'd come back.
She came back, so I deleted everything so I didn't have to talk to anyone.
Good.
And
good.
Thank God.
Well, and scene. I'm so glad she's returned. Everyone's relieved, and I'm sure now, everybody's like compulsively ensuring that she's in the home at all times. Okay, so really quick before we go into Ugly and Awkward Moments, there was something a mutual friend of ours had posted about how she uses dark humor to get through stressful situations. Mm-hmm. I said, Gallows Humor is my family's band name. That's how we handle anything, because it's just, I don't know. It's like, I guess it's just a coping mechanism for some of us. We have humor at the most inappropriate moments because it's our way of just dealing with the horrificness of some situation.
I think Gallows humor is the only humor we know.
For the most part, it is. But anyway, so the way we deal with stressful situations is we crack up or we say something funny, and then that's how we deal with it. And it kind of alleviates the severity of a situation. But I told her that I would retell the story about the time when our aunt passed away.
Oh, God.
And now our mother has, 6 or 7 siblings? And she's one from the youngest. So
I think she had 8 because I think there was 9 of them, wasn't there?
Yeah, something like that. All of them have passed away. There's like 4 still alive, but everybody else has passed on because they were so much older than her. We only had to go to one service, I think. I don't think we had to go to any other funerals because they didn't live in California. We went to our grandmother's, obviously, and then this one aunt. So she had lupus, and she had the kind of lupus that kills you real fast. There's different levels of it. So luckily, our mother's family has the dark, wicked sense of humor as well. Everything's always a joke to them. And, when it comes to that, even on their own, like this aunt specifically had lost a leg due to her illness. Mm-hmm. That was a source of jokes for a lot of people, including herself.
I was little, so I didn't know, but I used to play with it. And I'd put Barbies in it, and then I'd walk it around the house.
And everyone thought that was hysterical.
Hey, you know what? There weren't a lot of toys.
No, I'm saying the adults loved it.
I'd put my leg in it, and I'd walk around with it on. Yeah. And I didn't realize it was a problem.
We were who said it was a problem? No one did.
Well,
Everybody laughed.
A kid, but back then I also used to like Grandma's cigarettes when they would play like poker for dimes and stuff like that, and. It was a different time.
Well, what I'm saying is that all of those people that saw all of that also thought it was hilarious, is my point. It's a genetic.
I wasn't trying to be funny, though. My point was.
Yes, I know. But everybody else thought it was funny. So when she died, our grandmother went through a few religions in her life. At the time when she was a twin. So when the twins were born, she was Catholic. So our aunt was Catholic when she died. And our grandmother wanted her to have a Catholic funeral. That happened. And we were sitting in the chapel, and it was open coffin and all of that, which was another unfortunate situation in which jokes were told, which I just can't believe.
I almost passed out.
Yes, it was your first funeral. And so...
Well, I didn't realize the embalming process. And so I went to touch her hand, and it felt like a rock. And I was like, ooh.
Yeah, it is true. It's a very unusual
And then Mom's
experience.
Like, get her out of here!
So, why are we laughing? I don't know.
Because we were already laughing about a lot of other things.
Right. And so then... It was deemed by our grandmother that Ave Maria would be the song choice for the conclusion of the service. And it was a very moving service. It wasn't like, although I don't remember that the guy the religious leader knew who she was. I
thought he kept getting her name. I thought he kept calling her Charlene, or
he kept calling her the wrong name. And I remember us looking around going, what? Like, what? Who is this guy?
And then I think he got like referred to Paul as her husband, which was really her brother.
Yeah.
Did he do that?
There was some weird stuff.
Like, I don't think he knew her at all. I think
it was just he was the local Catholic guy.
He got like the Cliff's Notes like towards the beginning.
Yes, he probably had the program and, went with it from there. So, this is a very small town in the middle of the state. It's, Central California. It was obviously not a super expensive service. It was just, brief and quaint. And all of a sudden, so there's organs playing, and I'm like, okay, well, here we go. Here are the organs. And all of a sudden, Ave Maria. We lost it. We were hysterical. And what was surprising to me is that nobody else was laughing. I was shocked. I said, are we hearing this the same way? Is this what we're hearing? Because I am thinking this is hysterical. I mean, the irony of it all, really.
I want to say we were the only ones our age there.
Our mother was laughing.
Okay, but that's because we were laughing. And then I remember Aunt Pat turning around looking at Mom, and she kind of mouthed, "What the fuck?" And
oh my God, this is not funny. Why am I laughing? It was so funny. But
well, it was funny. And so Mom's just like, "Put your heads down. Pretend you're crying."
We
and
did.
So we had our heads down and we had our arms around each other and we were shaking and we were laughing so hard. And when you're trying, like when you're not allowed to laugh, but then you laugh even harder.
Yes.
And then Grandma turned around and looked at us. And for some reason, we all got stone cold face.
Oh, yeah.
Like, instantly. But Mom said before the lady started, or before the church service even started, she said that Grandma had picked this lady from her church because she thought she had the most beautiful voice she'd ever heard. And so we were like, the build up to this lady singing was like so huge, like, wow, she must be really great. And then it was like
opera. Oh my God. That's right.
Hell?
That's right. And then I don't remember getting in trouble for that other than our digs on the singing later by ourselves.
I think I got a nail in the back at the very beginning, but that's because I was sitting next to Mom. So,
yeah.
But I think that desisted when she started laughing herself.
But there's a lot of stuff like that happens in our lives where we make inappropriate jokes or laugh at inappropriate times. Like when our mom was in the hospital, there was a lot of that.
Sure.
I mean, it's the way you get through it. But anyway, I just wanted to
I think someone referred to Mom as being spineless or something like that.
I just remember there being a lot of jokes. I don't know if you were there for it, but when the first doctor came in when our mom was in the hospital last year, and he was showing us the tumor in her spine area. And I'm standing there, and everything is very serious, of course, but I'm standing there and I'm like, I just remember I was starting to joke about the good kind of cancer or something. I can't remember what it was. It went over like a lead balloon, but I was just trying to lighten the mood. It didn't work. Sometimes it just doesn't work,
Yeah, well, I mean, they can't all be
winners, right?
Yeah, right.
So I'm like, so this is the good cancer. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Anyway.
As opposed to the bad cancer. Gotcha.
He's like, well, if you want to have cancer, this would be the one to have. I'm like, got it. Okay, great.
Good
well, let's
know.
celebrate.
I'll write that one down. Next time I go to my doctor, if I have cancer, I want this one.
I want the good one. Okay. I want the best. So anyway, I thought it was really funny. Anyway, all right. Well, let's go ahead and move on to some ugly and awkward moments of the week.
So Ryan and I went to the store like a week or so ago, and it was later in the evening, and we just had to pick up like a couple things. And so we were out putting stuff in the back of my car, like the trunk of my car.
Yeah.
And the inevitable where you hear all the windows up and you hear the dong, dong, dong,
yes.
dong, like pulling in the parking lot. And I'm just like, I think that's so freaking annoying. But what's worse is that when you hear like the N word, like repeatedly.
Ooh.
And I'm just like, I really don't like that because I just think it's disrespectful. It's rude. And I'm like, I don't like my kids hearing it. And I'm just like, whatever. It just annoys me. Mm-hmm. Well, the car pulls up, like we're parked like straight on to the store. And then behind us, there's car spots that go like in rows, like behind us. Mm-hmm. The car that was playing the music parks directly behind us, but in a row. And so Ryan's putting the groceries in and I'm standing there and I turn directly behind to look at the car because, I don't give a fuck. And it's a silver Prius. And I'm like, what the fuck? And out of the car comes this like white 12-year-old kid.
What?
And he walks behind his car and then he kind of looks at me and I'm just like, and I said really loud, I'm like, really? And I was just like, and then he just kind of looked at me and then he kept walking and he put his head down and just like walked straight into the store. And I was just, because I was just like, I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, really? That's you? I'm like, and I almost wanted to say like, dude, you're gonna get your ass kicked doing stuff like that.
Well,
I'm like, do your parents know you do that?
Do your parents know that you let that word be screamed out of your car?
Well, especially being that young. I mean, I'm not even talking like, office space, where the guy was in like parking or in the traffic where he's like totally rocking out to the rap music.
Yes.
Like even that's different because he's like a grown ass man. I'm like, this kid was literally like
16.
I mean, I'm sure he was obviously 16.
Yeah.
Barely. But I'm just like, that is not a wise choice for you.
That's not a path that's not a journey I think you should be on.
No, he had like a white striped t-shirt, like a white and blue striped t-shirt on and like, cargo shorts and like tennis shoes. And
he was feeling particularly cool, huh?
I'm just like, what are you doing?
This is your first day?
Yeah, really. I remember my first beer, I guess, or my first wine cooler. I don't know what you're doing.
Are you going in there to buy yourself a whatchamacallit and a Mountain Dew?
But did Mom want milk tonight? But it was just funny, and I didn't even mean to do it. I was just like, really? and then Ryan looked at me and he's like, Mom, and I'm like, what? He's just like, you said that really loud, and I'm like, I'm sorry.
So mine was we went to Costco yesterday. I know that everybody has a different stance on the mask situation, but I wear masks when I go out where there's people, and Costco requires masks. So if you want to go, they will hand one to you when you walk in, or you can have your own. I know some people are like, I'll never go to a Costco again. And I'm like, all right, good, less crowds. I hate those lines, so that's fine. So I walked in with my little mask. Now, because I figure masks are going to be a part of my life for a while, I have a couple, and there is a company in Los Angeles who hand makes Swarovski crystal masks, and I have a couple. I have one that's all white, and then I have one that's black, and the black one is really cool, and because it's black crystals on a black mask. So anyway, and I always keep the white one with me just in case, Malia or somebody needs to borrow one. So we're walking, and this woman and her daughter, who's probably like Mackenzie's age, they're behind me. They're like, excuse me, I don't mean to bother you, but we love your mask. And I said, oh, thanks. I got a little too enthusiastic. So I said, oh, thank you. I go, so it's by this da-da-da, and I'm explaining, where it's in LA. And I said, oh, and wait, there's more. And I turn around and I pull my white mask out. I said, here, you can touch it. I haven't worn it yet. And the woman's just like frozen. Because she doesn't know what I'm
probably thinking, like, why did I
compliment this lady while we're driving by, like we're walking by? And then the daughter, who's trying to make it less awkward, she goes, see, Mom, we can get you a mask. You'll love it. Like you don't have to wear the medical ones. You can get one like this if you want. And she's like, well, these are really beautiful. Thank you for sharing these with me. That was so awkward. And where Daryl is?
You said who was with you, Malia?
Daryl. So,
Daryl.
So where Daryl is? 2 aisles down.
Yeah, really.
Just left me alone.
He's be like, I'm out of here.
I'm like, why did I do that? But I was just like, I was a little too enthusiastic about my fashion choice in mask. But they are really cute. So.
Well, I didn't even know that was a thing.
Oh yeah, they're great. Malia and I have a couple. We just love them. And I mean, it's like if you're gonna choose to wear one, you don't. You should. I mean, I definitely will be wearing them in different situations. And so I figured I don't have to wear, the standard dental hygienist mask, I can wear fashionable ones. And so I found a couple, and they do have the filter. So if you want to add a filter to them to make them, more safe, you can. But yeah, it was really funny. I'm like, oh, well, new low for me at Costco. I thought, I didn't think I could be any more embarrassing. I haven't fallen in a Costco yet, so there's that. But I'm definitely selling masks to others in the aisle.
Well, I mean, maybe you should think about making your own masks.
No, I don't want to do that. All right. Well, enough of that.
Oh, right. Yeah, we got to close.
We do. Our show has come to an end. The outline that I wanted to talk to you about, it is summer, but it's time to start talking about how do you safely get tan and the subsequent issues that come with tanning in the summer.
You don't. You just get fried, or you go to a tanning booth and get. I've never do. Okay, well,
we're going to talk about it.
Great.
So.
Okay, well, thanks everybody for joining us. Father's Day is coming up. I believe it is on.
It's like the 18th or something. No, 20th, 21st.
I think it's the 21st.
Yeah.
Sunday the 21st. So you'll be wanting to hit uglytruth.com, click on the Amazon button, or bookmark Amazon, and then that way you'll always be shopping our Ugly Truth section and see what you want to get Pops this year. We ourselves are trying to figure out what we're going to get Victor, the kid's dad, for Father's Day. Not really sure.
This doesn't have to be a new cat.
Yeah, really. Amazon's a good place to start. They always have the good search ideas where it's like gifts for him, or, you can always search by dollar amount and, depending on how you feel about them that day. Go there. Lipandclip.com has some good stuff going on right now. I know I need to get some lip liner. That's the only thing I'm not a fan of is when the lip liner runs out, you just get the click, 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 and then there's no more. So you're like, dang. So I got to check that out. But they did have some nice colors. I'm going to go a little lighter this summer.
Nice.
All I have is red. I just went through this phase where everything is red. So, yes. All right. Well, thanks, everybody. We'll see you on Wednesday. Bye.
Thanks for listening and sharing the show. See you next time on The Ugly Truth.